late tonight?
We're late because we didn't want to clash with the NBA Finals.
No,
Game
no, no.
7.
You didn't want to clash with the NBA Finals. I was fine clashing with the NBA Finals.
It is. Go Lakers. Congratulations, Lakers.
No, don't go. They've already went. They've already went.
All right, it's
They've
good.
won.
It's good.
Go Rioters.
16th championship for the franchise. 5th for Kobe Bryant.
All right.
Very nice.
Yawn.
If I can
There is
bring
more to life than movies.
if I can bring this back to movies, let me just say that the best Laker-themed movie, the best movie that includes the Lakers in it,
Okay.
can only be Fletch.
I would agree.
Come on, Fletch.
Of course.
He dreams that
Sure.
he dreams Chick Hearn is talking about him.
Great.
He's got the Laker thing.
Yeah.
Can you come up with a better one than that?
A better Laker themed
A
one?
better movie that somehow includes the Lakers. Either somebody says the word Laker, somebody dribbles.
The only one that would come close would be Grand Canyon. Lawrence Kasdan film. Starts at a Laker game.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
Yo, you should host Stupid for Movies.
I should, shouldn't I?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, Sam, congrats to the Lakers.
Well done.
Whatever.
The Mets are the hottest team in baseball. Oh.
No, the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox are the hottest team in baseball. I gotta be honest. And we actually could hear gunshots in here. I swear there were gunshots after they won. So congratulations, Lakers.
Oh, that's great.
That's how angry people were. We didn't start on time. There were gunshots right out here.
6.5 hours, the Lakers will beat each other's throats because the U.S. plays Slovenia in the World Cup. Sasha Vujacic, Slovenian.
Okay, whoever's
Russell
still
American.
watching is not watching
Wait,
anymore. 'Cause
where
no one
is
cares about
Slovenia?
this.
Because
If you
there's
look at-
Slovakia.
No,
Is Slovenia new?
No.
Because I don't know.
It used to be part of Yugoslavia.
Okay,
when I
thank
broke up,
you.
you got Serbia,
That's it.
Montenegro,
Yeah.
Croatia,
Am I the only one who
Slovenia.
wants the Soviet Republic back? I want to see the CCP hockey jerseys again. I missed
You
the Cold
really
I
want them back?
I missed the Cold War.
Do you?
All right, let's get moving.
Okay.
Exactly. I was going to make a Sylvania joke,
Don't do that.
Don't please.
but Corey says I shouldn't do that,
No,
so
I
I'm not
agree,
going
Corey.
to.
What
second that.
movies can people go see this weekend?
Wait, there are movies this weekend? Well, then we should do this weekend in movies. All right, wait, there's two big ones.
Well, no. There's one big one, and then there's another movie that they thought maybe if we slide this in under the shadow of the 9,000-pound gorilla, no one will notice that it's really there except a handful of people who can't get into the sold-out shows, and maybe we'll somehow be able to escape with a little bit of cash.
Yeah, but what's funny about Jonah Hex,
Oh, man.
and by the way, it was a pain in the butt to get into the screening.
By the way, I didn't see it because it clashed with Toy Story 3 for me. Mark saw a different screening of Toy Story 3.
It literally took Mark, like this. You couldn't get into the screening.
He had to have a security.
No,
He
clearance.
had to have me email continuously of
Yeah.
like, what are you on? You're on Ustream. We're on Blip. We're on every. I had to list every one. How many hits we had?
This is-
who
Well,
watches the show? I believe
here's
how
the
many
thing.
female
It's
male
not
breakdown.
like- it's
What was
not-
the age? It was
It's
ridiculous.
not like Warner Brothers doesn't know who Mark is. Everyone knows Mark at the screenings. I mean, you're a member of LAFCA. You're one of 60 local critics who belong to one of the top 3 critics organizations in the country. Your name is on the A-list. You get screeners at the end of the year. They beg for your approval. Everyone knows who you are. Somehow, somebody didn't get the memo on the team that's handling this film at Warner Brothers.
Because here's what they don't tell you in critic school. There's a couple types of screenings, but the two that we'll talk about are the all-media screenings
Yes.
and the A-list critic screenings. Like
Correct.
the critics for like Variety and Hollywood Reporter and the New York Times, they don't necessarily go to all media screenings.
They do sometimes.
Sometimes they do. But also there are screenings, rarefied screenings, that you have to pass level 5 clearance for.
Well,
right?
for the people that they really want to butter up, these are the reviews that they say really matter. So if you figure, well, the LA Times, New York Times, Variety, Time, Newsweek, Wall Street Journal, the New Yorker, if they figure it's a review that's really going to matter, they really want to butter you up, so they treat you like you are a higher caste.
That's right. So normally I'm on the all media list, which is
Yes,
fine,
likewise.
which is okay.
Yeah, we're fine with that.
But because Warner Brothers is a little nervous about Jonah Hex, a little nervous,
Little.
they really limited
A little bit jumpy.
a little bit jumpy. They limited the amount of people who could see it. And in order to see the film, I had to convince them that I deserved to be on the rarefied critic screening because there was no all media screening for Jonah Hex. So in order to do that, I had to go back and forth with Warner Brothers and tell them every website this show streams to, how many people see it, The thing was a total complete lie. Don't tell Warner Brothers. You know what? I just made stuff up. I made up numbers. I made up websites. Half of it doesn't exist, not invented yet. They don't know. So I finally got into this thing. Literally, those socialites who crashed the White House last year, they had an easier time getting to the White House
Did you?
than I had.
No, here's the question. Because at one point I said, forget it. Don't worry about it. Now, did you really want to see this movie, or was it just now you had to win?
Well, no.
It becomes a personal.
Because I was like, I got to be honest. At this point, the story's more interesting than probably the movie is.
No, well, here's the thing: is that you're arguing and arguing and arguing with the studio to get into this thing, and it gets to a point where you've just got to see it through. You can't say, forget it. I changed my mind. You've got to see it through.
Your emails were getting so annoying, and it wasn't because of you; it was because of them. I was just like, I don't care. Don't see it. Don't care anymore.
Well,
Leave me alone.
Megan Fox is in it.
Megan Fox is in it.
Josh likes Megan Fox.
And, okay, if we could talk about the film
Megan
for a
Fox,
second.
boring.
Because you talked about Toy Story 3. Jonah Hex is 81 minutes. Okay? A summer blockbuster should not be 81 minutes. And the reason why it's 81 minutes...
That's shorter than The Lion King. That's shorter than a Woody Allen film.
It's basically the world's longest short film, is what it is.
Wow.
And the thing is that the reason why it's 81 minutes is because the film had undergone this it was reconceptualized, rewritten, recut. They had reshot. They did a lot of stuff to this film to try to get this thing into a releasable shape. And quite frankly, at 81 minutes, even that, it doesn't really make it. And we have a clip, and it'll give you a sense of why this movie is what it is. Let's take a look.
Jonah Hex.
He's the voice you wanted.
You surely have done us quite a favor.
Transaction's all it was. I'll collect my $100 bounty on him and be on my way.
That there, Mr. Hex, was more of a limited time offer.
But you'll pay it all the same.
Oh, hell, Mr. Hex. There's an unscrupulous man or two paid double that for your stinking hide.
I have coffins. Sure you don't need 8?
Cut him down!
So the movie's based on a DC comic book, and it was one of DC's B players, and I think that's okay because Iron Man was a B player too. Ghost Rider's getting a sequel, so it's okay if a B player is turned into a comic book B player is turned into a major film because again, if you treat the character right, it's fine. The problem is that this movie was cut down so much that there are just so many holes in it, and what's left is this movie that just goes at a breakneck pace and makes very little sense. And doesn't really care. It's a film that basically acts like it has to go pee. It just wants to just get it over with. That's the problem with the movie, right? So Josh Brolin is really the only reason to watch the movie. He's terrific. I think Josh Brolin, it fits in there with the Robert Mitchums, with the Lee Marvins. I think that John Ford would have loved him. I think he's just a terrific presence. But
you realize you just said Jonah Hex in the same breath as John Ford.
No, I said James Brolin in the same, and that's okay. The thing is that in the movie, Jonah Hex plays this guy who was a Confederate soldier, and he winds up running afoul of a Confederate general played by John Malkovich. John Malkovich gets revenge by murdering Jonah Hex's wife and child and permanently disfiguring Jonah. So Jonah's life wound up being saved by these Native American Indians, and in the process of saving him, the Indians gave him the power to talk to dead people. So when the John Malkovich character comes back to destroy America, because again, he's from the South and he still believes in the Confederate cause and he wants to destroy America, they call Jonah Hex in to try to save the world. And of course, at the same time, Jonah Hex gets revenge on the man who killed his wife and child. That's what it's about. The problem is that there's so many holes in this film. Here's the thing.
Hold on.
Yes.
I was with you on the Confederate soldier thing, and the
I
guy
said it
killed
right.
his wife.
I had a good Megan Fox joke,
But
with
then,
the hole, but I'm going to let it go.
But then something about talking to dead people and saving
Yes.
the world, and you lost me in there. I missed something.
But the strange part is that I guess in the entire world, Jonah Hex is the only person who can do what he does. I guess Native Americans just like him. Although halfway in the movie, there's like this they have this big wrestling match in a ring, and there's this like kind of this feral snake man creature, and you're like, somehow in the Wild West there's a feral snake man creature. Well, where did he come from? Why is there a snake man creature in the movie? And then the snake man creature goes away, and then it's a Western again, and you're like, well, that was probably cut out, right? Along with everything else that was cut out in the film that makes it make very little sense. And so essentially just 81 minutes of just nothing.
But wait, he talks to dead people.
Yes. He talks, no, what he does, he grabs there's a person who's dead, and he grabs their arm, and when he grabs their arm,
Let go of my arm, please.
come, I thought you were dead.
No, that's okay.
He grabs their arm and puts his hand gently on his thigh, and then what happens? When he touches them, they come back alive, and of course Jonah then gets the information he needs from them, and then lets go of them, and then of course they die again. So he needs these dead people to tell him what John Malkovich's enormous plan is. Malkovich's enormous plan is this wild, wild west contraption that involves, stay with me. This is the contraption that's going to destroy America on the centennial anniversary. It involves shooting a large cannonball into the ground and then taking a smaller cannonball and shooting it into so it strikes the larger cannonball, at which point the larger cannonball explodes. Now it could be that striking the larger cannonball makes the smaller cannonball explode. It might also make both cannonballs explode. I'm not sure, because the movie doesn't make that clear. The movie doesn't make much clear, because it's 81 minutes.
So all of this packed into 81 minutes.
Yes.
And Warner Brothers didn't want to let people see this movie.
I know.
Go figure.
No. Right now on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 4%. It has a 4% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It was 0 this morning.
You know what? It was 0 this morning.
So by August, it could be...
Wait a minute. So this is... Wait, which was what's our lowest rated one now? It wasn't Furry Vengeance? Was that the one we hated the most?
Furry Vengeance wound up getting like a 1% or 2% or something.
I think Furry Vengeance might be lower than Jonah Hex.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is.
You know, but here's the thing with Jonah Hex is that it's very loud, it's poorly paced. The score is by some heavy metal band called Mastodon, which might be a heavy metal band, but it's so obnoxious it may actually be a Mastodon. I don't know. Mastodon himself may have actually scored the movie. So it's loud and it's obnoxious and it's poorly paced and poorly shot. It's dark and it's muddy and the frame is always too busy. There's just really nothing good about the film. It's just a dreadful film.
But it seems like this is an 81-minute review of the 81-minute movie.
I got an hour to kill here, folks. Here's what happens. We talk about the film until Mike does this. Now, you don't see this part until Mike does this. That says, move it the hell along. I'm revamping until Mike does this.
Oh, no, I only do that if you run over. I mean, I figured you could pace yourself by this point, 21 episodes in, but I guess not. Okay, I'll take charge again.
You're the producer. You know, the guy who produced The Tonight Show for 30 years, he did the same thing. For 30 years, he always was the producer.
And he also did this, though, in a really bad moment of Johnny Carson's life. That was... You know, that's a very famous thing that he did.
Too soon?
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so Jonah Hex, not good. You missed nothing. And
well,
by the way,
great.
Warner Brothers, you feel so bad because Warner Brothers, all of their fears are completely founded.
And they know that.
And they know that.
And we knew that the second that they started giving you the CIA clearance treatment.
You know, the thing is that the movie was supposed to be written and directed by the guy who did Crank. And then the guy who did Crank eventually jumped off. And it was directed by the guy who did Horton Hears a Who. So the guy who does Horton Hears a Who jumps off to do this sci-fi, obnoxiously loud, you know, otherworldly, supernatural Western that makes no sense. The whole thing makes no sense. Okay, I'm done talking about Jonah Hex. The movie's not good. I'm getting angry.
We're going to move on to the movie that people care about.
That is true. That would be... What, Wade?
Toy Story 3.
Yeah!
The enthusiasm. The room is thick with enthusiasm. All right, it's been a number of years since Toy Story 2, and Toy Story 3 really actually picks up in real time, to the point where Andy, who owned all the toys and still does as the movie begins, he's grown up. He's graduating from high school, he's going on to college. And the question at the beginning of the movie is, has he outgrown the toys? It's a big question. Is he still going to, does he want to keep his toys, or is he going to donate them to a daycare center or put them in the attic? And the toys desperately still want to be played with, and they haven't really reconciled themselves to the fact that Andy's outgrowing them. And of course, what happens is, yes, the toys wind up going to a daycare center, although not really for the reasons that they think, and the daycare center is more like a prison. Let's see a clip.
Here we go. There should be a little hole under the switch.
Little hole. Got it.
So reset your Buzz Lightyear. Insert paperclip.
Rex, use your finger. Okay, now what?
All right, let's see. Caution. Do not hold button for more than 5 seconds.
It's not my fault.
Bitácora espacial. Me he despertado del hipersueño en un planeta extraño.
Now what did you do?
I just did what you told me.
Estoy rodeado por criaturas extrañas y desconozco sus intenciones. ¿Quién anda ahí? ¿Amigo o enemigo?
Amigos. We're all amigos.
Me debo de haber estrellado y se me ha borrado la memoria. ¿Han visto mi nave espacial?
We gotta switch him back.
It's great. It's terrific. Now, here's the thing. Now, we saw it on different days. You did not see it in IMAX 3D, but you saw it in 3D.
I saw it in regular 3D.
Regular 3D. I begged them and pleaded with them to let me see it in 2D. Because everyone knows I really thoroughly loathe 3D, and they said, well, no, we don't have that, so here, see it in IMAX 3D. So
it's even worse.
So yeah, it's even worse. So I had to see it in IMAX 3D, which is basically just shoving you right up to the front of the screen. And despite the fact that I thoroughly hate seeing movies in IMAX and hate seeing movies in 3D, and this is just excruciating to have them both rammed in my face at the same time, I still managed to really enjoy the film, though I would still contend I'm going to enjoy it more tomorrow when I actually do see it in 2D. So, but it's a terrific film. It keeps in line with everything that the Toy Story films have established. It's a brilliant script. It does some very clever things, introduces some great new characters. Ned Beatty is fabulous in this. The casting of Ned Beatty, you'll never know it's Ned Beatty. You'll never know. But he's great.
Michael Keaton, too.
Michael Keaton, terrific as Ken. Michael Keaton as Ken. Really, really some terrific new voice talent. And I have to say, it's faded a little bit for me. I don't have the same kind of lingering enthusiasm for it that I did after Toy Story 2. But it is so good. It is so in keeping. It so completes the trilogy that, it's great. They had a huge order to fulfill, and they delivered.
I agree. I think it's terrific.
Yeah.
I think that maybe what you're responding to is the fact that even though in the film Andy's going to go away to college,
Yeah.
and what's going to happen to the toys, in the end they still manage to manufacture a plot that depends on getting back to Andy's place. It's another how are we going to get back to Andy's place sort of a story.
It does what sequels need to do. Bad sequels just repeat what the previous film did. They get into a mindset, oh, there's a formula, the audience responded to X, Y, and Z, so let's just redress X, Y, and Z a different way and hope that they kind of respond to it the same way. Good sequels say, you know what, we can't replicate that. So let's take the characters and let's move them forward. Let's nudge them into a different dilemma that is still in the same universe and still in keeping, but it's an evolution. We've moved them forward. And what they do here is they move them forward. I mean, the question of what happens to toys when a kid is too old to play with them, how are they fulfilled, is really very much in keeping with that universe. And it's the one question the previous two films didn't deal with because they couldn't deal with it. So we've had enough years transpire and people have enough distance from the first two films that as audience members we can relate to that as well, because we probably feel a little bit the same way about the characters in the movies. Are we sick of them? Are we a little tired? Are we used to them? So it's something. It's very, very smart. It's really well written.
But also, this film has a certain universality to it because, again, as people, sometimes we outgrow relationships or whatnot. So there's this.
I've outgrown this one just during the show.
You know what? I'm out. I'm done. The show is done. So I mean, I think people can relate to it on a deeper level than they could on the other ones because, again, when a relationship ends, that's very sad, and the end of the film is sad.
Yes.
And it does feel like it's the end, as opposed to something like Shrek 4, where you do feel it's the end, but you do feel like if they really wanted to, they hedge their bets. Whereas here, you feel like it ends on a nice little bow, really well done.
And one comment on the clip as well. You don't see animated films with subtitles. Anybody ever seen an animated film with subtitles? Okay, it's a gutsy move because a lot of the kids going to this movie don't read yet. You're going to have 3- and 4-year-olds who are going to need their parents to explain to them what the subtitles are. And that says to me that they said when they were conceptualizing it, you know what, we're not going to make a kids film. We're going to make a family film. We're going to make a film for everybody, a movie that adults love as much as kids, because that's the heritage of the Toy Story films, which is adults love them for one reason, kids love them for another. It's like the Bugs Bunny cartoons that we grew up on, and a lot of people grew up on, which is you love them for one reason when you're a kid, and when you grow up, you see it and you see a whole different layer of things that you never appreciated as a kid. So they're in keeping with that, and I think it's very smart. They didn't pull their punches.
Well, also, I think all the Pixar films have this, they have this knack. The scripts are tight, and they're jam-packed with jokes, and most of them hit, and there's something about the way they construct those scripts that it's always a winner.
And the character stuff is really a mile a minute. I mean, there are lines in the first two films and in this one. You need to see it multiple times to catch it, mostly with Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. I mean, there are some smart, sharp lines that they whiz by. You know, I got to look for my other eye, and all the things they're very, very sharp, witty jokes. And everything fits together just beautifully. And the one thing they started in the first Toy Story film was this screenwriting trick, and it almost gets overplayed in this. They almost do it too much, but it's a screenwriting trick where you invent a dilemma and you seed a solution to that dilemma that the audience thinks is going to work, and it winds up not working. And in the first film, it is, of course, the match, right? The match in the back, and then we got to light the thing. You light the match blows out. Oh, well, now how do we light it? We thought you were going to light it with the match, and now we're caught in this place where we don't know what you're going to do. And they come up with something so diabolically clever we never could have imagined. They do that in this film like 4 or 5 times. And it's great, and it's really, really remarkable. It almost is too much. It's maybe one of those too many, but the fact that they can still cook those up in a believable, incredible way blows my mind.
Yep, it's great.
Yeah.
Toy Story 3 is just terrific.
Yeah.
So Toy Story 3, terrific.
Terrific.
Jonah Hex, the opposite of terrific. Change the R's to change the...
horrific.
Horrific, or
Horrific.
Terrible.
Horrific.
And so, you know, Toy Story 3, over 100 or 100 million or not?
This weekend?
Yes.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Easy.
All right.
Please.
So those are the 2 big releases of the week, Toy Story 3 and Jonah Hex. Now, Wade, it was a big week, Wade. When you're reading the trades, you're reading the websites, you realize it's a big week. But when you want to know what's going on, when it comes to really getting into it, what happened in entertainment this week? There's only one place to go.
I call Chad Vader.
It's Chad Vader, This Week in the News. Let's do it. Hello, Chad.
Hey guys, you may notice I'm a little more relaxed than usual this week. It's because I'm asleep. Someone decided to air their show at 10 p.m., which is way past my bedtime. Some of us have to work in the morning, after all. Look at me sleeping there. What a little angel. Anyway, as you probably guessed, this is a recording. I recorded this earlier in the day, and now I'm asleep in bed. I do tend to talk in my sleep, so hopefully I won't say anything embarrassing during the broadcast. Gotta restock the radishes. It's 10% off.
I didn't think Chad had any hair to wash. What hair is Chad drying?
Helmet. Washes his helmet.
What is that? Does he get that turtle waxed? Is that how that works? What does he do?
I don't know. I was focusing more on the jammies. I think those are kind of slick.
They're
jammies.
adorable.
I wonder if they have little Yodas on them if we were to pull the thing back.
Oh, that wouldn't happen. Yoda's his enemy.
I like that we have that many cameras, that we have a night vision.
Yes.
Right? We have the TriCaster. We can do as many cameras as we want.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Night vision.
So we took one of the extra. We took one of the 6 inputs. Have night vision.
Pretty great.
At Chad Vader's place.
Darn right.
Just
all
saying.
right. So Chad. So just because Chad is sleeping doesn't mean he doesn't have news. Chad,
No.
What's going on in the news? Give us the first story.
Okay, so here's the news. Sam Raimi will direct a Wizard of Oz prequel. It's tentatively titled Oz, the Great and Powerful, and it would feature Robert Downey Jr. in the title role, though he hasn't committed to the role yet. According to Deadline's Nikki Fink, Downey would play the Wizard of Oz before he became the Wizard of Oz. He's in fact a circus wrangler, whatever that is, transported by tornado to the mysterious world of Oz, where he gets mistaken for a know-it-all. This plot sounds familiar. I think it's exactly the same as the Mike Judge movie, Idiocracy. I don't think anything more needs to be said about that. No, you wizards, get away from me. Stop touching me. Why are my teeth falling out?
All right. You know, first of all, First of all, you want to know why I hate this Wizard of Oz idea? I hate when they go back and they make characters into like babies. I hate Scooby-Doo babies, Flintstones babies, Star Trek when they...
Teen Titans.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I'm a fan.
Tiny Toons.
Tiny Toons, yeah. Bugs Bunny is a baby.
Robin Hood. Although it's not really as a baby, but it's like Robin Hood before he was Robin Hood.
No, but it's like they can't make them older, so they make them younger.
I know.
I don't like it.
Well, they're always trying to orbit the world of Oz and figure out how we can, because Frank Baum wrote more Oz stories. There's not just the Wizard of Oz, there's Return to Oz and all this other stuff. And they're always trying to, they did the one years ago, the Return to Oz with Fairuza Balk. And they're always trying to figure out how to somehow recapture that magic, that Judy Garland thing, right? But why? I mean, leave it alone. Do something else.
And
here's the other thing, real quickly. I got to say, Nikki Fink, who broke the story, doesn't always get the straight story. She really jumps the gun on a lot of stuff, just so that she can get more traffic on her website. So this may never happen.
Oh, sure.
It may very well
so
never
many
happen.
movies are announced that never actually happen. Happens all the time.
Years ago, I remember, this is how old I am, watching Family Feud with Richard Dawson, and he made a big announcement that he was going to star in the Dino De Laurentiis production of Long John Silver. Never happened. Never happened.
How would you remember? It's the most bizarre thing to remember ever.
I'm a fan of Treasure Island. I thought, oh, goody, Treasure Island with Richard Dawson. What a perfect...
By the way, can I say something?
Was this your Family Feud days? You were busy watching Family Feud? Is that?
I was a little kid, you know.
So you were, that's what I'm saying. You knew him from Family Feud.
Yeah, and Hogan's Hero.
Okay.
But of course, we all know him from The Running Man.
Oh,
Running Man, it's good stuff.
Basically playing himself.
Directed by Starsky.
Paul Michael Glazer.
You know it.
Who now sells reverse mortgages on TV.
That's great. Okay.
Horrible.
Can I say something before we go back to a sleeping Chad Vader?
Yes.
Robert Downey Jr. Here's the thing. He's becoming this becoming this franchise whore.
I know.
With the Sherlock Holmes and the Iron Man, I just want him to sort of throttle back a little bit. I don't need him in everything.
I do too. And as much as that annoys me, I get it where he's coming from, because he had this great career, and then he just completely coked his brain out and got all, wandering into strange people's homes and sleeping on their beds and going to court and being sent to prison and just showing up in, crack dens. I mean, it was like the dark days, and we thought he was done and he was making straight-to-video stuff. And then somehow his career resurrected. And he's back on track, and he's hotter than ever, and he kind of wants to enjoy this moment. And I get that, and I think he'll want to do something serious again. I don't think he's a Harrison Ford all of a sudden, but I kind of feel like I owe it to him to let him enjoy the moment now that it's come back. Because for a long time there, it wasn't coming back.
Okay, Iron Man, the best. He makes that series.
Yeah.
Okay, Sherlock Holmes, I'm like, really? Sherlock Holmes? He's American. We love him, but still.
He sold me.
Did he really?
The next one, he might make me sick of him, but
hopefully the next one will not be Wizard of Oz.
For now.
All right, pre-tape Chad, what's next?
The U.S. has approved a futures market for betting on the box office success of movies. These contracts will allow investors to buy shares, estimating the box office take of any particular movie, with the possibility of making gains or losses depending on the actual revenue of the film. The contracts are aimed at muting the considerable financial risks of the blah, 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 blah. I don't even know what I'm saying here. Stock market humor is a little outside of my wheelhouse, as they say. So instead, let's just cut to that nude Betty White playing card. Yeah, baby. Forget the futures market. I'm more interested in the past market. Betty, oh, Betty, marry me. I don't care that you're old.
Was that really Betty White? Is there a Betty White playing card?
Corey had to find that. The whole email chain was, please don't make me look for the Betty White nude playing card. And then in the end, it was like, we can't find a high-res enough one. Corey, could you find one? So Corey, is that actually Betty White?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Wow.
I don't want to think of Betty White that way. I don't want to think of Betty White, sleeping with a young virile Abe Vigoda. It's like 1863, and Betty White and Abe Vigoda are going at it, necking on Makeout Hill, right, in their Model T. Right? Huh? The earliest days of porn being recreated right here. It's
You're
unbelievable.
a sick man.
Okay, by the way, now getting back to the story.
Yeah.
This whole futures thing,
Yeah.
I hate it.
I do
it's
too.
the worst of all time.
What I'm amazed by is the fact that with all of the talk about derivatives and the economy and how all of this derivatives trading has brought everybody down, that there's even talk of doing this. Like, I thought that everybody wanted to get away from this kind of thing because nobody's actually trading a thing here. You're not going to the stock market and saying, here is my thing that I worked very hard to make and produce. I want to see. You're going saying, I'll bet Toy Story 3 does it. Like over under. I say you know, over under $100 million by $5 million. Give me $5 million over under, and I'll take that bet. Well, that's Vegas. That's gambling.
It really is.
It makes no sense.
There is nothing even remotely sort of governmental, purposeful.
No.
It's just a big. It's just a big toy store. Now it's just become a toy store.
The studios are all opposed. Lionsgate is the only major film distributor that actually is in support of this. Nobody quite understands why, but I'm sure that might have something to do with why Carl Icahn has now officially increased his share of Lionsgate from 19% to 31%. So he's getting very close to being able to fire the board. And then that will change as well. So it's, there's no use to this. And if anything, it's the kind of system where if you get enough people buying and selling these things at a certain price or trying to game it, that you actually could affect how much money movies earn. And that would just be catastrophic.
I mean, there is a major opportunity for gaming the system, defrauding people who are buying into this thing. And obviously, as it goes through the regulatory process, they're trying to claim that there will be stop gaps and ways to stop that.
You can't.
But you just can't.
You can't because there's too much now riding on movies. And this is one of the big problems that we've talked about, which is that studios no longer care that a movie makes money, because a movie can be a giant loss leader for Happy Meals and games and jackets and mugs and whatever else you're using it to sell, and toys. So if somebody is, I mean, you would literally have to address all of these other ancillary streams that a movie somehow facilitates in order to figure out who might be gaming the system for what reason. It's unwieldy. There's no way. There's no conceivable way.
Now, it's possible that Congress could still put the kibosh on it.
And they probably will.
And they probably will.
Yeah. The MPAA is lobbying very heavily. MPAA has a lot of friends in Congress, and typically the people who've led the MPAA have been in Democratic Party insiders. Jack Valenti and the guy who recently stepped down. They're trying to get former Senator Kerry, not the one that ran for president, the guy with no leg. And that's how I keep them. That's how I keep distinguish. Sorry, they both went to Vietnam. One came back without a leg.
The thing is that the MPAA, you know, Jack Valenti could have strong-armed everybody into just bending to his will.
Absolutely. And
but I'm not sure who's. No, Glickman's gone.
Glickman's gone, but they've got clout, and they've got people who understand the importance of the film business. So I think they'll get that legislation.
I really hope so, because I just think it's pointless. I agree. They've turned derivatives into just a big game.
No,
it's a big board game.
It's enough of a game already. We don't need something making it more of a game.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Chad. You got anything else for us?
MGM and Warner Brothers are threatening to hire Brett Ratner to direct The Hobbit unless Peter Jackson steps in and directs it already. Another possibility would be Dave Dobkin, director of Fred Claus. Ugh. Both options would most likely be terrible, so hopefully Peter Jackson stops messing around and makes a decision.
Why, yes, Mr. Baggins, I will go on an adventure with you. Bring all the dwarfs and all these... What? No, don't bring Brett Ratner. No, Bilbo, no!
I mean, David Dobkin, it's such a joke. I mean, you know what? When I first read this story, I thought it was from The Onion. I mean, there's no reason why David Dobkin would be hired to do The Hobbit.
But isn't it funny that Brett Ratner is now a threat? Hey, if you don't direct this movie, we might get Brett Ratner to do it. There you go.
Everybody hates Brett Ratner. It is so funny.
I interviewed him. I mean, I spent 2 days on the set of Rush Hour 2. It was Rush Hour 2. And...
was he a tool then?
It was unbelievable. I've never seen someone so completely lacking in basic command of a film set. He had 4 producers leaning over his shoulder at all times. And when he'd go and he'd give direction to Jackie and to Chris, it was meaningless. Like, move more this way. I need you to enter from screen left, and then he'd take a cell phone call, and then he'd take another cell phone call, and he had an assistant juggling 4 or 5 cell phones. It's ridiculous. And then, you know, I interviewed him in his trailer, and it was something that, you know, it was like, oh yeah, you know, I gave Jackie this opportunity and that opportunity, and you know, it's like, really, you think that much of yourself? You're kind of a tool. It's amazing.
You know what? Him and Michael Bay, the
unbelievable.
The two biggest director tools in Hollywood.
Because I mean, I've been on sets and where you see someone directing and you just know they've got it. You just go, you know, they've got it. They're working with the actors respect them, the electricians respect them, the grips respect them. Everyone respects because they know they've got the thing. They've got it up here, and it's a vision thing. And with him, it was like they just, you know, went and found some round peg to plug in.
That's true. And you know what? And as I have to say, as bluffs go, this is pretty laughable. No,
It is.
Peter Jackson's not
No.
saying they're going to hire Dave Dobkin.
Yeah, no.
Oh my God, what am I going to do?
No, well, they're getting impatient is what's happening. Yeah, just wait it out, you know. He'll come around. Jackson will come around.
He'll come around.
He'll come around.
All right, Chad, you got one more, right? Sleeping Chad has one more.
The 2011 Hollywood Walk of Fame recipients have been announced. Here are some of them: Ed Harris, Gwyneth Paltrow, Donald Sutherland, Danny DeVito, Neil Patrick Harris, no relation to Ed, The Go-Go's, Louis Prima, and The Muppets. The Muppets? I didn't know you could give a star to just a big group of things. How many Muppets are there anyway? Hundreds? Are all the Muppets equally deserving of fame? Do Kermit the Frog and Camilla the Chicken really have the same star power? I don't think so. I think they should just give a star to the actors and save everyone a lot of time. Anyway, congrats to all the new Walk of Famees.
Oh, really? A star for me, Chad Vader, on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? What an honor. Oh, wait. What are you doing with that baseball bat? No, don't beat me. Please, I just want to be famous.
What?
I don't know what happened there, but
wow, he has strange dreams.
He really does.
Wow,
you know, people don't realize how the Walk of Fame works. So you can buy a star on the Walk of Fame.
So
it's
why
not
didn't
that big a deal.
Why didn't Louis Prima buy one when he was alive?
I don't know.
Louis Prima was
above
big.
that. He's above that.
That was like
He's above
six,
Horace
that
stepping
was,
on him.
Louis Prima's what, 40s, 50s band
Yeah.
leader. I mean, we're talking half a century ago.
It still has to be approved by the Chamber of Commerce. You have to get the money up front, you have to give them a cashier's check, and then they have to vote on whether or not you're big enough to get the star.
Oh,
Weird Al Yankovic has yet to get his star.
Aw.
Oh, I love Weird Al Yankovic.
He does not have a
I
star.
see him in concert. I bought the T-shirt.
There you go.
Nature Trail from
So
Hell
you're
in
the
3D.
one.
What?
You're the one.
I am the one. He rules.
Oh, Weird Al's amazing.
But Johnny Grant's not alive anymore to actually run this extortion scheme. So who runs it now?
The
Anybody
Chamber
know?
of Commerce.
Yeah, but he was the
Well,
he was the
now
muscle.
now it's some guy who was voted in by nobody who voted. I don't know.
Does he live? Does he live in Johnny Grant's penthouse now?
I don't
You're
know
asking way
exactly.
You're asking way too many questions. Are you trying to get a star? Is that what you're trying to?
Yeah,
It seems like you're going to hit him up for one. Is that-
I want to know.
understand.
Where's the
Who cares?
Where's the dark room that I go with
All right.
the suitcase full of cash?
Why are you complaining when the Muppets are going to get a star? I mean, seriously, the Muppets deserve...
Beaker.
Huh?
Beaker's getting a star.
Beaker's getting a star. The Swedish Chef is getting a star. Bork, bork, bork. Cats with the bork, bork, bork. All right, so
Okay.
anyway, I'm a fan. All
There you
right,
go.
Chad, is that all you got, Chad? What's going on, pre-tape Chad?
Okay, guys, that's all I got. Don't forget to check out my continuing adventures on the web. Hopefully my sleep talking didn't get out of hand. I just hope to God I didn't have any night terrors. That would really be embarrassing. I get those sometimes. Anyway, see you next week.
The terrorists!
Chad needs like
Whoa.
sleep therapy or something. I think Chad's got problems.
Good stuff.
You know, the thing is that even if Chad could swallow an Ambien, how would you get that into his helmet?
Intravenously? I don't know.
Intravenously.
I guess.
It's all possible.
Through the towel.
Through the you know what? It's all possible when you're Chad Vader.
Sure.
All right, Chad, hilarious stuff as usual.
Very good.
Pre-tape Chad, just as funny as live Chad, because it's Chad and we love Chad. So that's the news, Wade. Big news week. Now,
Good news week.
it's time to try this at home. Let's do it. Was that new Try This at Home music?
No.
Oh, it was the same music?
Same.
So what you're saying is I haven't been paying attention for the last
Mark
20
does
episodes.
not pay attention at all. Corey works very hard on this, and you
Oh,
just don't.
now
you
you're
dare.
making it into an anti-Corey thing.
No, no. I said Corey works hard on this, and you should, thank him and pay attention to things he does.
Now you're making it into an anti-Corey.
It's not an anti-Corey thing. I'm making it into an anti-Mark thing.
No, you're saying that I am anti-Corey.
Oh, you're anti-Corey.
Corey.
All right.
Don't look at this guy. Look at him right there. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Well, over the weekend, Karate Kid stomped all over the A-Team.
$56 million. That's way more than the studio thought.
A lot more than the studio thought. And I think a lot of that is attributable to how much fondness people still have for the original film.
It's true because, again, the adults came and the kids came.
Yeah.
And by the way, Will Smith was everywhere pimping this thing out.
Yeah.
Pretty much everywhere but here on this show. He did everything.
It's true.
Celebrity Try This at Home next week. No.
What the? We're announcing it here right now. Will Smith is one of the producers of the movie along with his wife.
His kid is in it, yeah.
Because his kid is the star. By the way, I think that kid is good. I liked him. I thought he was good in the movie. Will Smith is everywhere. That really helped.
By the way, those photos of Will Smith at over the end titles, totally gray hair, beard.
Yes.
Amazing.
I'm not sure if you saw the film, but in order to remind people that a big celebrity like Will Smith is involved with the film, over the end credits there were these black and white stills. So the credits would roll, there'd be black and white stills, and many of them were of Will Smith.
But looking like no dyed hair or beard. I mean, gray.
But what kind of ego does Will Smith have to want to put himself into the movie any way he can?
I don't know.
I mean, seriously. All right, so because Try This at Home,
Yeah.
we wanted to honor the old film.
Yes.
So we said to people, go ahead and watch it. Ralph Macchio, Oscar-nominated performance
Pat Morita.
by Pat Morita, directed by the guy who did Rocky.
John Avildsen.
John Avildsen. The Karate Kid was like a real movie.
It was.
It's not as good as this film. It's better than the new one.
Yes.
But still, totally worth watching.
Yeah.
Now, Mike has been surfing the message boards, the Facebook page, the chat room, the Skyping, the whole thing to try to get people to come on and talk about the original Karate Kid. Mike, who do we have?
They're all afraid of you.
They're all afraid of me.
Message board. Let's go to there first. And from the message boards, we have Duncan, who I believe his website is slamdunkstudios.webs.com, right? Isn't that his? I think that's his thing. Duncan, who is actually from Australia, he says he loved the original Karate Kid. Sure, it's cheesy and formulaic, but there's something utterly charming about this teenage underdog tale. I think mostly it's friendship between the sweet, nurtured Daniel and the wise mentor. Lesser actor would have come as overly sentimental, but there's a real warmth between these two. It's endearing, hidden beneath the Daggy soundtrack and 80s bravado. Ooh,
cool. I love that soundtrack.
What is Daggy soundtrack?
Well, Duncan, if that's Duncan
That's
Hubbard.
Duncan,
It is Duncan Hubbard.
Who's one of our podcast listeners, digigods.com. He's Australian.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So I don't know what Daggy means.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, it's Australian
for
slang for something like
Daggy.
that.
The director manages to get some lovely shots, such as the silhouette training on a boat over a glistening body of water.
That's a great shot.
The way Duncan describes it, over a glistening body of water. Best of all, though, incredibly rousing and uplifting final fight. So Duncan loves the original Karate Kid.
Awesome.
Basically.
And by the way, I thought by the time they got to it, the final fight in the new one was good too.
Yeah, it's more elaborate and a little less realistic, but it's fine.
And what's great about the other one too is that, and what's kind of okay about this one is that they take that primary relationship between the boy and the mentor, they take it seriously.
Yeah.
It's not cheesy.
Nope.
The kid is intransigent, he doesn't want to train, then eventually
Yeah.
gets to like him, and you learn a little bit about Miyagi and and of course the Jackie Chan character in the process. But they take it seriously, which is nice. So it winds up being a legitimate two-character piece.
Yep.
Which is nice, which is the reason why it endures.
And why he was nominated for an Oscar.
That is true. Pat Morita.
Pat Morita. Emily's BF from the chat room. He saw it, but all he remembers was a traumatic birthday party where my friend broke my other friend's Karate Kid action figure, and all the adults punished us.
I remember that. I was there for that.
You know what? I like that kind of stuff because people tie their memories into movies, and so that to me indicates it's
That
a
is
childhood
interesting.
movie memory.
It's a sad memory.
Well, but it's still a memory. Corey, do we have anybody else coming in? We do.
We have C. Cohen Skyping in.
C. Cohen is
Yes.
Skyping in.
C. Cohen, are you there?
Hey. Yeah, I'm here. Hey guys.
Hey.
C. Cohen,
Hey,
I think this is your first time on the show. C. Cohen, everybody, come on! Give it up for C. Cohen.
Thank you guys.
So you watched the original Karate Kid. What'd you think?
I loved it. I think it's a great movie. It's a staple of 80s cinema. You know, I guess to sound. I mean, everything about it, the music, the setting, the characters, it all clicked for me. You know, Ralph Macchio as Daniel, he's so perfect, and and he was a believable American teenager. Of course, you have Pat Morita as Mr. Miyagi. He was such a legendary character. With those lines, wax off, wax on. It's quoted for years, and it's just a really great movie. And I also had the opportunity to see the remake with my nephew over the weekend, and the thing about the original, as you guys mentioned last week, the older characters really is what I think made it a more dynamic tale, and it's not something that needed to be remade and for a younger audience, with Jaden Smith, who's fine, and also Jackie Chan. It didn't need to be remade for a younger audience to appreciate it. I thought it was fine the way it was, and I thought that that's part of what really made the film a classic and a great movie to me, was that there was these older characters involved in this tale. And but yeah, I mean that's my 2 cents.
It endures for all those reasons.
But it's funny because we talked about this last week. Is that Ralph Macchio, although he was in his very early 20s at the time, he played an older teenager. Whereas I don't know if you felt the same way. See, Cohen is that Jaden Smith. He's so young. He's like this little 11-year-old. Right. And although I liked him in the movie, it is a different dynamic when you get like an 11 or 12-year-old getting beaten up like that and being your hero versus getting someone who's supposed to be 17 or 18.
Right.
What did you think of Jaden versus Ralph?
Right. So I mean, they're so totally different. I mean, like obviously Jaden's a young African American, come from Detroit, whereas and the fact that he's so much younger really, it seems like the movie. Like the older film, I feel like it was also directed possibly towards an older audience. I mean, they're both, I guess, in the family film realm, but the older film was certainly grittier, harsher language. It was 80s PG. Probably would have merited a PG-13 now.
Yeah.
And in the new one, they play it so safe, and the only slightly risque time in the film is Jaden Smith says ass once, and Jackie Chan reprimands him, and like I just felt that it was so toned down, and Jaden Smith so young that it just kind of, I don't know, I killed kind of the magic. And as you also mentioned last week, I think I would have been happier if they hadn't called it The Karate Kid and just made it this movie as the Kung Fu Kid or whatever, as they were doing in international territories. Like, just, I don't know, it would have worked better for me. And it's not a bad movie by any means. The new one, it's as you also said, it's a bit too long. I mean, it's 2.5 hours, and the first hour really is dragging, but it does pick up. But I don't know. I feel that the original film has just more stagnant and holds up better.
All right, C. Cohen.
Can I just say something?
Yes.
C. Cohen had the best sounding Skype call we've ever had.
C. Cohen, everybody!
I don't mean in terms of what he said. I'm talking about whatever microphone he's using. As the technical guy, I'm just like, that sounded just smooth and clear. And
tell us what that hardware is, because
and he almost lulled me too.
We're going to send it to every viewer of the show.
Yeah, free microphones for all.
Because Mike's getting
no, it's just like $10 piece of
DVDs.
Wait, $10 piece of crap I got off of eBay.
Wow,
literally,
and you have a very good voice, so that was a good call to me.
Yeah.
Technically, I'm happy with that call.
I love the show, guys. Keep up the work.
Thank you very much.
Turn down your computer.
We appreciate you calling. Thanks.
All right, C. Cohen, thank you. Anybody else have
we
any
do
comments?
have somebody else coming on.
We have Brett coming on in 1 second.
Brett will be next.
Can I say something about this movie?
Not Brett Ratner.
Can I say something about the new Karate Kid?
Sure.
They live in Detroit. She gets downsized. They go to China? She couldn't go to St. Louis? She can go to San Francisco, San Diego, New York, Chicago, Boston, Fort Lauderdale, China? She can't get a job anywhere else but China. She's got to be totally unemployable.
The Rust Belt, man. It's tough in the Rust Belt. There's not much going on.
Did you ever think of that? It was never explained.
They had to go somewhere where they could find Jackie Chan.
They had to
You're not going to find Jackie Chan in Fort Lauderdale.
No, they had to go somewhere where they can find millions and millions of people willing to spend money for an American-made film.
There you go.
That had to take place in China.
We're cynical and jaded.
We are cynical and jaded. That's true. International audiences are more important now than ever.
Yes.
And China is a totally untapped market. All right, we have somebody else, right, Mike? Hello?
Yeah, are you guys there?
Yeah.
We are. Who's this?
All right. This is Brett from Logan, Utah.
Hey, Brett.
Hey, Brett from Logan, Utah. Now, where's Logan, Utah?
Logan, Utah is kind of by the Idaho border, north of Salt Lake.
Population 200, 2,000?
400.
Yeah, 400.
There we go.
I like that. What do you do in Logan? What on a Saturday night? What happens in Logan, Utah? Seriously, what do you do?
He hung up.
Oh, why did you?
Wait a second, I was about to do a whole thing about his town.
Either he was offended, or in a town of 400, the internet's not so good.
I really hope it's the latter.
Somebody else needed to use the phone.
Exactly.
He's calling back. He's calling back.
Brett, call us back. I want to know all about Logan, Utah.
I'd like to,
write that down.
What I want to know is when he calls back, hopefully, is seriously, in small towns like that, where do they see movies? I mean, I know people who live in small towns like that still in this day and age have to travel like 2 hours to get to an actual, movie theater that's playing first-run movies.
And you know what? On every week, I also do a little radio thing for a marketing in Ohio. And when I talked about The Hurt Locker last year, when it was released, got everybody excited about it, that thing never actually made it to that town. The movie wound up winning Best Picture, was never released. And I mean, this is a substantial, it's like, wherever Ohio State University is or something like that. It's, I don't know the state, never been there. But it's like, there are people who live there. And The Hurt Locker was never released there.
As opposed to what, robots, dogs?
And now they're all
middle of Nebraska.
And now they're all being sued for downloading The Hurt Locker, even though they couldn't see it.
That's right. That's true.
On Catalina Island, they're only showing one movie right now, and it's Prince of Persia.
Oh, see, that's depressing.
But Catalina Island is really small and isolated.
But you don't want to go to Catalina for the movies anyway.
Yeah, who goes to
You're
Catalina
doing the
Island to see a
biking.
movie?
You're paying the $30 to use the golf cart an hour
to see
All the people that live there only have one theater, is what I'm saying. And they play one movie.
All right.
Although,
Brett is back.
Brett, you're back from Logan, Utah. Brett, welcome back. You there? Are you there, Brett?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
Is it like homecoming weekend in Logan, Utah? What's going on?
No, it's not homecoming weekend.
Okay, when it's Saturday night in Logan, Utah, population 400, what do people do? Is there like a place to hang out? Is there an ice cream shoppy with an E at the end that people go to? What happens in Logan, Utah? Am I embarrassing your town? I really don't mean to. I'm just curious.
It's not much, man. It's just there's not much going on.
Then get the hell out of Logan, Utah. Come on, get it done.
Mike had a good question. I mean, how many theaters are there?
There's about, I think there's 2. No, there's 3. We got 3 theaters.
That's one for every
That's pretty
133
good.
people. That's fantastic.
So what did you think about Karate Kid original compared to the new one? Did you see either or both?
I like how Mike's trying to get this thing back on track.
Yeah, get back on track.
Yeah, I like them both.
So you liked them both. Now, did you see the original when it came out, or did you see it on video, recently?
His computer crashed.
Oh.
Brett, you're killing us.
You know what they don't have in Logan, Utah? An Apple store.
Do you not have an Apple store in Logan, Utah?
He's up.
You got 3 theaters, no Apple store.
Is there anything closely, anywhere near as cool hair as the bad guys in the first one?
No. Yes.
We haven't. Harry wants to know about the hair in the new one. And bad guys having hair.
Yes.
We talked about this a little bit last week, right? You want to talk about it again? The bad guys' hair in the new one?
It's 80s, man. It's 80s hair.
No, but in the new one, the bad coach, who's a very famous Hong Kong actor.
Yurong Guang, who plays it's the worst hair.
He has the bangs that somehow might slant a little bit this way. Bangs with a slant.
Yeah. It's bad.
It looks really bad. All right, so
Bad
Brett,
news.
we're really sorry, but call us back next week. We're here every Thursday night at 8 p.m.
Brett,
Pacific time.
Brett, you can also hit the message boards. Again, everybody can hit the message boards on stupidformovies.com, and you can be your own critic. The message board is a lot of fun. It's real movie lovers talking about movies, letting their own critiques, asking Wade and Mark questions. Anything goes in the message board, so please check that out as well.
All right, anybody else talking about Karate Kid there, Mike or Corey?
I think we're going to move on.
We're going to move on. Wade, what are we going to move on to?
We're going to move on to the next Try This at Home, next week's.
That's right.
Actually, we're going to skip next week. By the way, I think we're going to skip a show next week, right?
Yes, we are.
We are not doing a show next week. So
his fault.
July 1st, Mark has more important things to do. Do you want to say what you have to do?
Yeah, I got to pay my mortgage. I got a job.
Do you want to say what you're doing for that job?
This show doesn't pay very well.
Let's say what you're doing for that job.
Which is to say it pays a little thing we like to call zero. And I got a mortgage to pay. Well, I work for an entertainment cable network, which has the word entertainment in the title of the network. In fact, the first letter of the word entertainment is the entire name of the network. Mike Rotman, trying to throw me off, not working. So on Thursday the 24th, June 24th, we are throwing a big deal for the premiere of Eclipse.
Yeah. Oh.
It is the it is the premiere of Eclipse on Thursday the 24th. So E Entertainment Television, which is my day job, we're doing a whole big thing for it. So I have to work until like midnight Thursday. So that is why we are not doing a show. So I apologize to everybody who would normally look forward to watching the show next Thursday. I will not be here, so we cannot do a show.
Gay Mormon vampires.
There you go.
Okay.
Somebody thinks that
So July
Mormon
1st,
vampires.
July 1st, we have a special. You want to introduce then the celebrity Try This at Home for July 1st?
That is
Which
true.
gives you
Now-
an extra week to watch this movie, people.
No excuses.
Now, David Bickle, this guy David Bickle, hilarious. This guy, a big sitcom guy.
Yep.
He's
Writer.
a writer.
This is real deal.
He's the EP of King of Queens. Now, whether you like King of Queens or don't like King of Queens, you got to admit it. King of Queens, huge show. Guy, hilarious, right? Top shelf, right?
Yeah.
King of Queens,
Absolutely.
network, sitcom, syndicated,
The real
money.
deal.
Guy's rich.
And,
That's all I know.
And he wrote a book.
And he wrote a book. He wrote this book called Creepiosity. Now, Creepiosity is all about creepy things. Things that are creepy.
Well, it's things
Like
that are
Wade.
it's things that are unintentionally creepy.
Yes.
And by the way, I'll plug it right now. He's doing a show at Largo this coming Wednesday. So next Wednesday is the 26th. I'm gonna say, right?
Sure.
Something like that.
Sure. No,
Wednesday,
it's the
June
23rd.
at Largo, 23rd. If you're
23rd.
in LA, he's doing a show Wednesday at Largo with a big panel. I believe Laura Silverman, Nick Kroll is part of the panel, and where they're going to talk about the book and all that kind of stuff. So it's a great show to go to if you're in LA and see some comedy.
So
Sweet.
Creepiosity is a terrific book about unintentional
It's a good title.
creepiness. It's a good title.
It's a real good title.
And David Bickle, really funny guy. He's the EP of King and Queens. He's a big sitcom writer. He is providing
Our celebrity Try
the
This at
Celebrity
Home.
Try This at Home for July 1st, by the way, not for next week. So let's see what David Bickle picks.
Oh, hi. I'm David Bickel. I'm the author of the brand new book, Creepiosity, a hilarious guide to the unintentionally creepy, in bookstores now. And I'm here with a movie for Try This at Home. It's a movie about a family that's creepy and kooky and mysterious and spooky, and I'd say altogether ooky. I'm talking about the Friedman family. The movie is Capturing the Friedmans, and I'll be back on July 1st to talk about it with the guys and to hear what you have to say. So Skype in, email, let us know what you think. Thanks a lot.
That's a good one, but wow.
By the way,
it is.
now we didn't know what he
Beware.
was picking when they wrote
No,
that
we
tape. We wanted to be purposely ignorant, as
Yeah.
opposed to all the other times I'm ignorant, which is most of the day and night.
Intentionally ignorant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'll say this: Capturing the Friedmans is a great documentary. That is
It
a
is.
great documentary.
But it is creepy.
And it is creepy.
It is creepy.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
It's one of those documentaries where the things that happen to this family, it just piles on and piles on.
You'll want to bathe afterwards.
Yes.
You will.
Yes. A very terrific documentary.
But not
called-
in a public bath. Like in...
What?
Seriously.
This
I'm
is
just
not
saying.
a Turkish thing.
No, it's not.
Okay. Just making sure. So here's the thing. That's a great recommendation because Capturing the Friedmans is a great documentary. It's totally creepy. It's about this family with all sorts of secrets. Not
Leave
going
it
to say
there.
what the secrets
Yeah,
are.
just leave it there.
Because you are really going to want to experience this thing without having read about it.
Yeah.
So Capturing the Friedmans is the Try This at Home. Now, don't come back. You're welcome to come back, of course. We won't be here. Thursday.
We will be playing a best of.
We'll be
Thursday, I think
playing
we'll show a best
oh,
of.
best of. We'll be playing a best
We will be
of.
here live with the chat room, and if Wade is around, he's more than welcome. Hopefully, we'll log in, and I know a bunch of the producers will log in, and we'll answer any questions you guys have. So we'll make it kind of a fun 8 o'clock still. We'll show a clip. I think we'll just show one of the
I
old
can go into the
episodes.
chat room.
Yeah,
I can
Mark
go
can
to
go to the chat room. So we'll have a Mark chat. Wade, hopefully you can make it.
Sure.
I'll make it, and we'll be in the chat room as well, just showing an old episode that you can feel free to also ask Mark and Wade questions then that aren't being answered.
Super cool.
If there's ones on the message boards that aren't being answered, you can answer them in that.
I'm going to make you this promise right now. Next Thursday, June 24th, 8 p.m. Pacific time, I, Mark Lawrence Keizer, will be in the chat room. I'll just be in the chat room from the office, where I'll be not working, because I'll be in the chat room.
And if there's anything you guys want to see, an old episode, although you can always see them on our website or on Blip, but if you think it's a good one to live stream, then let us know through Skype. I mean through Twitter or the message boards.
So there you go. So on July 1st, we'll be back, and you guys will be. You guys have 2 weeks to watch Capturing the Freedmans, which is David Bickle's Try This at Home suggestion.
Nice.
And come back July 1st, Thursday, at 8 p.m. Pacific time to talk about that film. And make sure you take a shower beforehand, because that movie is just creepy, but it's a great documentary.
And don't forget, you can also go to Amazon, and we'll talk about this when he's on, but you can go to Amazon right now and order his book, Creepiosity, which is pretty amazing. I have a copy of it. It's definitely one of those fun books that you want to read.
So there you go. So that's this week's Celebrity Try This at Home.
And now?
What say it, Wade. Do it.
Buy, rent, or burn. Lightning round, let's do it.
Okay, I'm going to call this the World Cup edition.
Oh.
This is from all over the world.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's from all over the world.
I thought it was all about soccer.
First one, these are I'm going to start with the message board, then we'll go to the
Final
chat
score,
room, because we're going to hit the chat room because people stayed up late for this. So, my first message boards from John Blund, who's from Sweden, Hard Boiled.
Buy.
Hello, McFly. Buy. Buy.
Anything John Woo, buy.
All right, that was quick enough.
Well, not
from
anything. But...
Spar07, and he writes, this is Simon from Wales, home of coal mining and Richard Burton. And he asks about The Commitments.
Ooh, buy.
Oh, you got to buy that. Alan Parker.
Buy.
Alan Parker, one of the great modern directors.
But here's a great thing about The Commitments. All the songs performed in The Commitments are live recordings. It's not dubbed. It's not done separately and mixed. That movie, Alan Parker pioneered a whole new way to making sure that when you're shooting the movie, you're recording the concert live in the dynamic way that you're actually going to present it in the theater. So that's all live music.
That's really interesting to know. See, I can't stand musicals. Love The Commitments. Don't consider it a musical, but that's probably why. It's all live.
Yep.
Thanks. This does not say where he's from. Chanokin from the message boards, Irreversible.
I hated that movie. I hated that movie. That Irreversible is the film where it's told backwards, huh?
Yeah,
it's told backwards, and it involves like a 9-minute single take rape scene, where, by the way, the director's wife is the one who plays the character.
Yeah,
Monica Bellucci. It plays the character who's raped. I saw that at Cannes and I hated it. So I say burn it. I say burn it and burn all the prints. And then burn down the theaters that played the movie.
Anyway, you always say this, and one day
something will happen.
It's gonna be, wasn't it the Fisher King that happened, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna pull a Fisher King. Somebody's gonna. Mark told me to.
Oh, it'll be awesome.
You don't want to do that.
That'd be great.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that is.
But the actual effect.
Corey just brought up a good point. That is good publicity.
Yeah,
all right. Well, if somebody wants to go do that,
have at it.
on the message boards.
Go for it.
Prague 5000 from Norwich, UK. Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
All the ape films are good. Come on, the ape films. Yeah, get some. Run in the towel.
I say buy all of them.
And they're in a box set, by the way.
Yeah, all the original ones, not the Tim Burton film. That doesn't belong. But really, get that box set, all of them, on Blu-ray. The whole thing, because it's cyclical. It all wraps around. It's perfect. You got to get them all. So Conquest, just like all the others, buy.
Buy it.
Big time buy.
Jester94 from Sydney, Australia. This is pretty cool. I mean, and I actually did not go through and pick these. These were all in order on the message board. From Sydney, Australia, Cloverfield, and is it worth getting the Blu-ray or 2 DVD special edition?
I'm going to say something. I like Cloverfield. Sometimes you just want to see a monster beat the crap out of things. That's really all you want out of life. And there was a monster beat the crap out of stuff.
We might have done this.
You know, honestly, full disclosure, I have to say buy, but the problem with Cloverfield is that I know the director, I know the producer. I actually introduced the producer to the director, and I starred in 3 of the director's student films when he was
not in Cloverfield.
USC. But not in
because
Cloverfield.
You weren't pretty enough or had the WB attitude.
Exactly.
No, that's not a bad thing.
Everything people say about every knock that people give to this film, by the way, I don't disagree with.
Buy the Blu-ray.
Well, buy the Blu-ray.
But I'm biased.
Okay, great. Moving on. Also from the message board, Gizmo CH. asks about Orgasmo.
Rent.
Ooh.
I'll say Rent.
I'll say Rent too.
I'll say Rent because it's got some huge laughs in it. I mean, like anything Trey Parker and Matt Stone, it's got some huge laughs. I just don't know that they're as huge the second time around, so it's worth a rent.
Although before the show we were talking about basketball.
Yeah, that's not a
burn.
Yeah,
that's a burn.
That's a burn. That was an odd misfire for them.
Okay, from Hunchy, last one from the message boards. How green was my valley?
Oh, John Ford is Best Picture winner. By the way, How Green Was My... Let me tell you about How Green Was My Valley. It was directed by John Ford. And that film won Best Picture over a little thing we like to call...
Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane?
1941, yeah.
Oh, come on, you gotta... Well, it's, by the way, also Roddy McDowall.
Little Roddy McDowall, young boy. Little. He was this big in the movie. Pocket-sized Roddy McDowall. You pull him out and you go, "Where's Flicka?" And you put him back. No. Here's the thing. I don't know where that came from. Here's the thing about How Green Was My Valley. It's a wonderful film, you know, Welsh coal miners and all this stuff. Even though it was shot on a back lot, didn't get anywhere near Wales or a coal mine. It was like over here in Culver City. I don't know that it's really worth seeing more than once. It's a good
so
film.
Rent it. You rent it.
I'd rent that.
Okay,
one.
well,
I'd say rent.
Let's say rent that.
All right. Let's go to the chat room because these people stayed up late. Nightmare 54, Romancing the Stone.
Bye.
Oh, I got to... come on, Romancing the Stone.
Watch that over and over.
I guess I'll say bye.
Even though it kind of blatantly rips off the African Queen, and if you've seen the African Queen, it's a lot harder to enjoy it. It's still fun.
Okay. From Martha S., Friends with Money.
Bye.
I
think that's a really good film.
I do
think
too.
It's a really sweet film.
I think that's a talented director.
Yeah, she's good.
Yep.
From Tehouse 74, The Big Bus.
I love The Big Bus.
Why?
I love The Big Bus.
Look out! He's got a broken milk
No,
carton.
he doesn't. This is what happens. The guy is going to die, and he goes to the piano bar, and the piano bar goes. The guy goes, 6 months to live. That's all he's got. Yeah, 6 months to live. That's all he's got. Well, he may see summer, but he won't see fall. So forget about Christmas. Yeah. The Big Bus. I love The Big Bus.
I hate the floor mats.
That's the one time I wish we were in 3D when you're like, what?
No,
like
it's
diving into
awesome. The bowling alley. How do you not bowling alley? We love it. Buy it twice. Buy a copy for everyone in your
6
family.
months to live.
It was like the airplane of its era 3 or 4 years before Airplane.
Awesome.
Sort of the same
From
era.
Elaine Ewing, Thirst.
Why is Elaine not here?
Elaine's not here tonight.
I have to say I was a little mixed on Thirst.
Same here.
But I'll say Rent just because.
I'll say Rent just because,
it quenches your thirst.
It's Koreans and vampires and priests who become vampires and all that twisted Korean stuff.
It's okay.
Rent.
It's a type of movie that seems to be making itself up as it goes along, and it's sort of like it's like 2.5 hours. You know what I mean? And I just did.
But
it was a bit of a.
It's so stylish and it's so inventive and original in that even though it doesn't really go anywhere and doesn't really kind of put it all together, it's still really interesting to watch.
Yeah, sure.
So
I'd rent that.
Yeah.
And one more from Red Dragon 132 in the chat room. Dragonheart.
Silence.
Oh, the worst one of the bunch.
I don't want to say Rent, but I don't want to say Burn either.
Bent. That's a Bent.
You have to choose. This is your choice.
I'd say Rent. I'm going to say Rent that. Yeah. I'm going to say Rent that. And we have a Rent that contingent in the room.
You know what?
We'll say again?
My friend directed that. He needs the money.
Come on.
One of our audience members here.
Okay,
Yeah, huh?
Patrick Reed Johnson.
So
that is Patrick Reed Johnson.
Yeah.
I know the director as well.
See, when it comes to dragon movies, I'm more a Reign of Fire kind of guy.
I like Reign of Fire.
But yeah, I like dragon movies where there's a little bit of grit, But that's fine. That's fine.
Well, then
Rent.
Reign of Fire. Yeah. But definitely Rent Dragonheart.
Yeah.
Definitely worth it. And your friend gets a couple shekels.
He's got plenty of money.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, so there you go, folks. That's another edition of Buy, Rent, or Burn. All right, so to wrap it up, what did we learn?
Toy Story 3 this weekend.
Toy Story 3.
Get in, and if it's sold out, don't go. Well, that Jonah Hex looks interesting. No, avoid. Stay away.
So we learned, go see Toy Story 3. go buy the big bus. That really is the
yeah.
most important thing that we
Yeah.
learned is to go buy the big bus because we only have 6 months to live. That's all he's got.
It is. You will wonder why they don't make comedies as funny anymore.
That is true.
You will.
Totally
it's
true.
So clever.
All right, now as a reminder, there was no show next Thursday, June 24th, but we will be in the chat room.
So there will be a show showing, it just won't be a new show.
Yes, there will not be a new show. There'll be an old show, a rerun. We're going into reruns. It's like a real
syndicated.
show.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah, there's residuals. There's residuals. Everybody gets residuals.
Yay! Woo! An extra piece of pizza for the crew. So on July 1st, we'll be back with a new show at 8 p.m. Pacific time on, that's a Thursday. So you have 2 weeks to watch Capturing the Freedmans, and we'll have a special guest, David Bickle, to talk about his book and talk about Capturing the Freedmans. And that's it, Wade, right?
We're done.
All right, guys. Good night.